Today I would like to share about the possible relationship between the emotional causes of tonsil cancer and how swallowing one's emotion had to do with it. This condition may not be applicable to everybody, but it is applicable to two persons that I know very well. One of them is my mom. My mom was diagnosed with tonsil cancer 20 years ago, and she actually underwent an operation to remove both her tonsils as well as undergo radiotherapy treatment. Another colleague of mine was also diagnosed with tonsil cancer in her 20s. That diagnosis of that colleague of mine happened in about 7 years ago. The similarity I noticed between both my mom and my colleague is that they had to suppress their emotion and they had to basically put up with a lot of crap that has been happening in their life, mainly their working life. My mom had seriously a very difficult working condition, but she had to grit her teeth. She has to go to work in order to have enough money to raise us up, to earn an honest living. She had to put up with a lot of bullying in her workplace, and basically she had to swallow her emotion. So when the anger comes up, it's just like she has to swallow it. It's the same for my friend as well. My friend also came from a family where her mother has died of pancreatic cancer. She was very sad. She couldn't go back to see her mother when her mother was very sick. She told me if she go back and see her mother, then she wouldn't have money to even put food on the table. So she was forced to work. It was very, very painful for her. She thought that finally she did possibly got the annual leave and she went back to her hometown. But unfortunately, within about 2 weeks, her mother passed away from the cancer. Subsequently, she got married. Not long later, a few years after that, she was diagnosed with tonsil cancer. She also endured a lot of bullying at work. Before that, she never stood up for herself. This is a similarity that I noticed. I'm not sure if anyone else who is being diagnosed with this condition, it may apply to you or not. But I will consider both my mom and this friend of mine to be noble people, that they are very good and tolerant, and they have a very difficult time and they put up with it. They had to swallow the emotion. You see, cancer is an uncontrollable growth of these abnormal cells. Now, by right, every one of us in our body, we have the cancer cells. Most of these cells are actually placed in check by our immune system, so it doesn't get out of control. Why is that the case? Because you see, our immune system job is to be able to differentiate the good from the bad. So if these things are not supposed to be there, then it would not allow the multiplication to happen. But there is also a very strong correlation between emotional and how our emotion will impact our body. If let's say we suppress our feelings, we stop listening to our emotions, then our body may lose the ability to differentiate between who's the enemy and who's the friend. So when the cancer cells are multiplying, the immune system doesn't fight, it doesn't control the population, and it's spread out of control. By then, when the cancer cells spread out of control, then intensive treatment will be required, like radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Now, if there's a correlation between them, then how to manage the situation? It is my belief that the doctor takes care of our body when we are sick. We go to the doctor, we get the best advice, maybe we get second opinion, then we decide on the best treatment, and the doctor would actually take care and prescribe the best treatment possible. But the doctor cannot treat our mind or emotions. It is something that we have to manage it ourselves. While the doctor is treating us, our job is to manage how our emotions and how we face the illness. In the case of my mother, the cancer happened at that point of time when she was going to retire, after putting up with a lot of crap, bullying when she was working. After the diagnosis, of course, she did not need to endure any more of this bullying because she no longer worked anymore. My mom's nature by right is an outspoken and fierce person, but when it comes to work and when it comes to having to earn an income, she's very docile. She behaved like a low-profile little mouse. She don't want to offend people. So she was not herself basically when she was being bullied. she did not dare to stand up for fear of losing her job. Because after the cancer and after the treatment, she was no longer in this position. Fortunately, it has been about 20 years. She actually went into remission. In the case of my friend is still young and working. She is a working mother, married. The cancer also changed her perspective of things. She told me in the previous company, her cell phone was always ringing all the time, morning to night. That so much so that she was hardly able to see her infant son after she went back to work after the confinement. She was doing breastfeeding for her baby. She will be in the room pumping milk when her boss keep calling her and insist she go back up to the office. That kind of things used to happen. After the cancer, she changed jobs not long after that, and she no longer allowed herself to be bullied into working ridiculous hours. She joined a new company, she started over, she didn't care, no matter how people look at her. Having been through being ill with almost losing her life, her priorities now are very clear. She go back on the dot, she try her best to finish her work, she goes back, and then she just do what she had to do. It's not that she gives substandard work, it's not that she sacrificed the quality of her work, but she know how much she could take on. Because if she doesn't learn to say no, then it's going to be like those long working hours. Therefore, I've seen that it's about 7 years already after her cancer diagnosis, and she has already given birth to her second child. Now, for the case of my friend, when she's dealing with certain injustice that she's unable to fight off, the best is she try to remove herself from the situation, like changing jobs. And then otherwise, right, it is to remove herself from the situation, not to face the situation anymore. That is why I would actually like to give a correlation. I don't know whether it's applicable to yourself or somebody that you know who could be suffering from this condition. But if it does correlates to it, then it may be time that while the doctor is doing the necessary treatment for you to battle this illness, let's learn to take care of your emotion and to be able to differentiate what is right and what is wrong very clearly, so that our body will be able to get the message very clearly as well. There's no point if we continue being the way we are, and in the end, our loved ones are not able to see us anymore. For more information, I've actually written a few posts related to tonsil cancer and more detail in my mom's experience. I will share the link to the articles in the description box below. If there's anything, do leave comments, and I'll do my best to actually address any comments that you may have. Okay, that's for me from now. Take care.